Hi, my name is Cassie, longtime anime watcher, big idol enjoyer. I recently saw the Colorful Stage movie, which is why I have Best Girl Mizuki up here. If you haven't seen it, you have to go watch it. It is so good and it's so average. It's such an average anime that it's amazing. And I loved every single second of it. But while I was watching it, I was thinking of a few things that were really, really important to me. I recently got into the Project Sekai universe, the game, movie, obviously, all of those things. I took a really long break from like idol stuff, not for any particular reason other than it just seemed to not be going anywhere. There wasn't a lot going on. I wasn't really into the new Love Live group. So I was kind of thinking about like, is it that I'm not as into idols right now where I am in life? Or is it that there's something going on with idols? Like, where did they go? What happened? So, like, it just seems like they're not as interesting to me as they used to be. They don't seem as fun. They don't seem as plentiful. I feel like there's not a lot of really cool people to choose from. Basically, right now in 2025, if that's when you're watching this, if you're an idol fan, like, and you're keeping up with current idol stuff, it's Project Sekai. There's not a lot going on. Maybe there's Idolish 7. I don't watch a lot of the other idol things. I think Idolish 7 is probably the only other thing going on. There's a bunch of like random indie ones, but I have like a bunch of notes right here that I want to get into as well. So I'll go through it and I'll list what I have. But before I get into the video, I did want to give a couple warnings and precautions. I am not from Japan. I don't know anything about Japanese culture, about what's going on over there, what that's like. So I kind of want to look at this from like a global, if not like Western, specifically American, United States lens. So don't critique me too hard on that. I don't know what it's like to live in Japan. They're probably super popular over there still. I'm 100% sure they are. Love Live is probably so much more popular over there. So is like Idolish 7, Idol Master, all of those things. So I don't want to say that idols are not popular at all anymore. If you have any 2 cents about that, I hope that you put it in the comments. But yeah, I just wanted to start with, I am not from Japan. I'm not Japanese by any sense. So I just want to talk about the sheer output of idol anime being made and the quality of them and the direction that I think idol anime is going right now. Sorry if you could hear the random motorcycle in the back. Sorry if you can hear any random noise, my fan or any of the things going on outside. I just wanted to talk about the lack of idols, the lack of idol representation, if you will. The thing with Colorful Stage and the Project Sekai universe is that they're inherently not idols. You can argue with me on that. I will accept that. I think it's Magical Cure. The song that Hatsune Miku even says, like, I'm a virtual idol, Hatsune Miku. But in a definitive sense, the only idols actually in Project Sekai are More Jump and the members of them. The other, Mizuki's not even technically an idol. She's like in a rock band. But the first thing I wanted to talk about was the very first anime ever. I think it's really important before we talk about idol anime to talk about the history of it and the foundations for idol anime. So the very first is Creamy Mommy, which came out in 1983. So according to my anime list, it says, a young girl, Yu, who after seeing a spaceship is given the power to use magic for 1 year. She's also given 2 cats, Poji and Nega, to watch over and guide her. Using her magic powers to transform into the idol Creamy Mommy, you must work hard at acting, singing, helping her parents at their crepe shop, fighting aliens and bad guys, going to school, plus trying to get the affections of her childhood friend Toshio. Now, although this is the first idol anime on record, I don't know how much actual singing that she's done. I will be the first to admit I've never seen Creamy Mommy. I do feel a little bit bad about that because I consider myself a pretty hardcore idol fan. What I will say though is that there's only 16,000 reviews on my anime list as of the day of this recording, and has an average score of 7.2, which is like fine. But that is the first one, and I think that that's super important to note, because there's not a lot of idol anime that happened for several decades. It isn't until like the early 2000s that we really start to see idol anime kind of pop off, or like more people are starting to get into the idol universe. I know some people might disagree with this as well, but I believe that the first kind of foundation for idol anime, what we think of as the core of how idol anime function, the whole like there's a group of typically high school girls that kind of like get together. There's a problem going on that they need to solve. Started with Idol Master, and although it's not super cut and dry for what we think of today, and like, oh, they need to save the school, they need to save the world, whatever, it is kind of the foundation, I think, for, hey, here's a bunch of girls, they're like getting together, they're in high school, they're making music together and all these things. So Idol Master came out in 2005. So the description for Idol Master is 765 Production Studio manages the unique talents of 13 professional idols as they slowly make their way to the top and become countrywide celebrities. But the girls' journey is far from just fun and games. Hard work, sweat, and tears are some of the prerequisites needed to flourish in this industry. And for 765 Pro in particular, a watchful eye for their rival, the infamous 961 Production. As the girls' fame grows, however, their time as a family diminishes, and now the very popularity they sought is threatening to tear them apart. A difficult balance of work and bonding must be achieved, or they risk everyone going their separate ways. The personal and professional ordeals of these idols cannot be conquered alone, but with each other's loving support, any obstacle or hardship can be overcome. Now, the reason I say that this is the foundation is because this dates back to 2005. It has about 157,000 watchers on my anime list. So that's probably the first idol anime that we see start to take off. It is kind of what set in stone, like, oh, this is what to expect of idols, how they look, how they should behave. And I feel like I am correct in saying that most idol anime, even if it's not a copy and paste, or if it's not exactly how Idol Master did it, they do take a lot from their book. So I think that it's important to note those two as kind of the core foundations of what we see today as idol anime, and what we define and how it's kind of come about. But what I think is most important is what I want to call the idol renaissance, but is actually called the idol warring period of the late aughts to the mid 2010s. I actually didn't know what the idol warring period was until I did this research, so that's another reason I'm so passionate about it. I think this is really cool. Even as a huge idol fan, I wasn't sure what this was, and so I did a little deep dive. I was like, what is the idol warring period? As I said, it happened in the late aughts to early to mid 2010s. The biggest times for idol fans, and it had a significant rise in female idol groups competing for fans' attention. So one of the biggest beefs during this time was AKB48 and the Sakamichi series. Now, don't quote me, I didn't write this down, I don't remember, but I believe one of them is owned by Sony, and the other one is owned by somebody. Maybe I'll insert a note or something. So these are two of the biggest groups going on right now. They're like two big head honcho idol groups. There's dozens of girls in each group. When AKB started, their Wikipedia says that they are among the highest earning musical acts in Japan and are the 7th best-selling girl group worldwide. So they were setting trends and making numbers around the globe. What's interesting is that as an idol fan, I guess I didn't become a true idol fan until the mid 2010s, which I will get into. I never watched and never listened to AKB. I know there's going to be a steak coming at me, a knife coming at my throat. But yeah, I've never listened to AKB, and I do regret that, and I will watch it very, very soon. So jot that down. Hold me to that, but I will watch it very, very soon. What makes AKB and Sakamichi so important during the 2010s is that we have these idol girls, these animated idol girls who are fun, they're exciting, they make really cool, catchy, fun music. They have really cool designs. The girls are fun and relatable. And we actually start to become very obsessed with the ability to meet them in person. Now, these are idols that also start to embrace that there are people behind those idols. You can meet them, see them perform live. They started to develop what was called handshake events. At handshake events, you were able to meet them, do meet and greets, all of those things. I believe that's also when people started to use like light sticks, and they sold like posters and CDs and all of these things, which is really, really cool when you're an idol fan. You actually get to meet the people. They're not just animated kind of like figures that are beyond us. Like they're actual tangible people that we can also meet in person and actually get to know, which is really, really cool. I know that there are a couple AKB groups, I think. I know there's at least like AKB 0048, which is the anime, I think. I think there's only one group in that. But the Sakamichi series had notably Nogazaka 46, Sakurazaka 46, Yoshimoto Zaka 46, and Hinatazaka 46. And over the next several years, many idol groups came forward at that time, and they were kind of vying for fans' attention, seeing which group could get the highest numbers. Not only did we have those groups, but that's also around, yeah, like early 2010s. We have Wake Up Girls come out. We have Bang Dream come out, and Ensemble Stars, Idolish 7. Now, I'm not super knowledgeable about boy groups. Not saying that they're bad by any means, but I'm not super familiar with them. But I know that they all were coming out around this, like, maybe even roughly like 5 or 6 year period. And in 2013, we get what is Love Live. And that is probably, unarguably, the pinnacle of idol anime. And what got me into idol anime, admittedly. But probably got almost everyone into idol anime, so I feel like that's nothing to really be ashamed of. It is noted as being the most influential. And then things start to really fall off around 2017. Like there are still idol anime coming out, idol groups like coming out, or like the old ones are still making music until like the 2020s. But we really start to see 2017 as the significant decrease of idol anime and people watching them in general. And I think that is likely because of Love Live Sunshine. And Love Live Sunshine, it did really well as the successors to Muse and the Love Live franchise. I think they did really, really well. The Aqua Girls, they took off. They were really fun. They were really unique in their own way still. But around the time of 2017, I believe it's 2017 is when the anime ends, is when we really start to see a downfall of idol anime. So then that begs the question, why do we like idol anime so much? And so many people have made videos about this, Reddit posts, like blog posts, whatever. I know there's a YouTuber, Red Joker, who makes a video about why do we like idol anime so much. And there are a few things to know and things that I want to add as well. One of the reasons that idols make us feel good. They're super motivational, and they make us think like, yeah, I can do this. The power of friendship is awesome. If we work towards our goals, we can meet them. That's something that we really, really love about idols. And something that really, really makes us resonate with them is that they're people who are trying to overcome obstacles, especially like big ones. School is about to be shut down, or the city's in trouble, like with Zombieland Saga. All of those things. I think that they give us a lot of motivation, a lot of power, and that's something that I really, really enjoy about idols myself. Power of their music. They bring people together. They make people happy. It is typical. It would be strange to see idol music that was more on the negative side. We do have a lot of rock music or like heavier stuff, and that's not what I'm talking about. I think for me, what I'm talking about is like kind of sad anime idol music. Like there is a little bit of them, but they're mostly uplifting, about love, about friendship, bringing people together. And I think that's something that we really love about idols, and something that makes us really, really happy, and why we grow so close to them. Now, of course, the biggest reason that we love idols so much are the characters. Just like Mizuki over here, we grow attached to idols for many different reasons. You learn that they are into something that you're into. Say that you do archery. Maybe you really love Umi from Muse. Say that you're kind of an asshole. Maybe you like the more tsundere girls, or I know like some people are really into the more mommy-esque girls of idol groups, which I think is really fucking funny. But there's kind of an idol for everybody when it comes to idol anime. There's someone that you will find yourself attached to, someone that you'll love. And I think that's what really makes us grow attached to idol anime, and something that keeps us around is because we find someone that's like us, or that we want to be like, and we really, really resonate with them. We want to see how they grow, how they change, how their relationships flourish, all of those things. I think that in idol anime, they're developed unlike any other anime out there. I've seen over like 400 anime. You know what? There's so many characters that I love, so many that I am interested in. And unless you have like a multi-season, or like a really big shonen who has a really, really high budget, they have like 70,000 manga out, you're not going to learn a lot about these characters. And I feel like idols, you learn a lot about them even in a shorter amount of time. And I'll get to this in just a second, but it's easier for you to fall in love with characters because you get to know them. Idols are all about the characters. They're all about the music too, but they're all about the characters, much less about what's going on in like the world building, action, anything like that. Like, it's about the characters themselves. The last thing that I think idol fans really, really love is the community. We find other people who are just as interested in the same idols, in the same groups as us. We are so hardcore. Idol fans are maybe probably the most passionate and most wild anime fans that there are. There's so much merch, and they will spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to buy all that merch. They will spend so much on that gacha game. They will spend hours playing that gacha game. That's something that people really, really love. The community. You love Mizuki just as much as I do. We're best friends. We're besties. Like, that's all I can say. And so I think that is probably one of the biggest reasons that people stick around in idol anime, and why we're so attached to it, is the community is just so cool. Like, idol fans are some of the coolest people in the entire world. So that brings me to the next section of the importance of external media when it comes to idol anime and idols in general. I feel like it's really, really hard to have a really, really good or well-functioning idol group unless you have something to keep them going. A 12-episode anime is more supplementary than a primary source. I feel like gacha games especially are the primary source of how we get the information and how we kind of digest idols. We look to that as their primary source of, like, oh, these are the things that they like, these are their friends, and these are their family. The anime itself is kind of in the background. We don't see a lot of it. I hate to say it, but all the Love Live anime, for the most part, especially Muse, although we love them a ton, the anime isn't super fleshed out. It's super bare bones. It's amazing, yeah, but we don't learn a lot about the girls. Most that we learn about the girls are in the gacha game. We get dozens and dozens, hundreds of episodes of these girls, and their one-to-one kind of dialogues with other girls, and their stories. We learn about their hardships. Maybe they like find a dog and they help the lost dog. They have someone's like really going through it at home, and they learn about each other within those episodes in the gacha game. So I feel like external media, especially gotcha games, although I don't want to argue the predatory nature of gotcha games right now. That's kind of not what this is about. We can argue that in a different video, but I think it's important for idols to flourish. I think that it's really, really important for external media to be made for idols, because how else are we going to attach to them? How else are we going to fall in love with them? How else are we going to learn more? And how are we going to keep their stories going? Because that's what we're here for, is to see them change, see them grow, and see how they are throughout their journeys. One of the issues with this is that it requires gotcha games, external media outside of just the anime, is a lot of time, money, and resources, because we have countless girls, they're signing contracts and they're making music, they are doing shows and all of these things, they're making episodes for their gotcha games, and it's a lot of time and money. And unless you're Sony, unless you're Sunrise, you probably don't have a lot of money to put into these things. So it's really hard for new idol groups, I think, to get their start. If you have that money backed and you're like, you know what, I really think we can make this happen, we're just going to make a gotcha game and we're going to hope that it sticks. It's really hard for companies to just be like, yeah, let's just see if it happens. It's a lot of commitment and a lot of time and money. I don't think a lot of producers and a lot of companies are willing to put in that commitment or that time and energy, especially actors. Like if they're signing a contract, they're not going to be like, hey, I'm going to do music for like a year or so. Like I'm going to do it for one season and that's it. We don't care about idol girls or idols in general if we're only going to watch you for 12 episodes and not really learn shit about you, just listen to like 3 songs at most and then move on. But no, we want that 7-year contract commitment. Even if they do get a rhythm game, even if they do get some kind of external media, it doesn't always make it to the US. And I think that's really, really hard for us who are global. How are we supposed to get to know? How are we supposed to learn about other idol groups? How are we supposed to become part of a new community of idols or grow attached to specifically like Idolmaster? Idolmaster never made it to the US. And I think that's really hard for a lot of people. And now I did watch the Idolmaster anime, and I think that it's really hard for people globally to even discover idols if it's not even accessible to us. And that is not a critique necessarily. I know that resources, dubbing, all of these things are really, really difficult and takes a lot of time and money, but it makes it really, really hard for global netizens to grow attached to and love other idols. One of the last things that I want to talk about is when did things begin to change? And this was the main question that I had when I was thinking about this. Back in the 2020s, obviously, the biggest point of contention was COVID. I think with the lack of resources, the lack of people being able to get together, the lack of money, there wasn't as much anime being produced just in general. So many things were getting canceled, pushed back. I think having such a big commitment, such as becoming an idol or developing an idol series or idol groups or anything like that, was really, really tough, difficult to commit to. A lot of idols, they commit to a 5, 7, whatever year contract. In the unsure, scary times of COVID, that wasn't something that we could ensure. So I think that during those times of the late 2010s, 2020s, no one wanted to commit. No one could commit. They were so unsure of everything, and COVID lasted several years. So it was like, we can't even meet in person. How are we going to make these idol handshake events? How are we going to meet people? How are we going to put on live shows when we've been stuck inside for 3 years? And I think that is probably one of the biggest reasons that we saw a decline. And it's hard to get that footing back, get motivated again to start an idol anime when it's like there was uncertainty for so long. The idol genre kind of died during those times, and I think it's really hard for us to pick it back up. Hold on, my cat's at the door. So I think that it was really, really hard to get into becoming an idol or developing idol anime or idol shows, gotcha games, anything like that, when you couldn't meet people, you couldn't develop music, you couldn't do any of those things. Now, I don't think that COVID is the only reason that we saw a decline in idols. One of the biggest reasons is that there's a change in anime trends. Now, what I mean by anime trends is that I think we've not think, I know we've always had action, we've always had mystery. Some of the biggest anime to date, obviously, Bungo Stray Dogs, Haikyuu, a bunch of like sports action shonen, kind of like cool anime has always been really, really popular. I think that it's hard to make idol anime when they have been so cut and dry for the past several years. It's very power of friendship, 12 episodes. We're going to have a song drop every 3 episodes. There's going to be a small problem. We're going to have the girls get together, and then they're going to overcome that problem at the end of the 12 episodes. It's become very formulaic. And I think that with the direction that anime is going and how widespread it has become, I think anime has been popular for several years now. I think people are looking for just more than the power of friendship and 9 anime girls coming together and fix the problems of the school or get through their time at the school together. I think that producers, mangaka, are making anime that are more widespread and that appeal to a wider audience. So I think that the trend of anime itself are trying to mesh several genres together. We're not seeing just idols anymore. I put this in my notes. Gekidol of 2021. This anime, yo, this is one of the worst anime that I've ever seen. And I think that is because they try to do too much. I don't remember a lot of the anime. I remember it being very almost traumatic. I maybe I'm saying that too lightly, but it was pretty traumatic. I think there was a lot of like SA going on, a lot of like assaults, a lot of like deep kind of rooted things that we don't really go to idol anime for, or idols for in general. We're not really going there to see a lot of like kind of traumatic things going on or become sad. We're going there to be happy. We're going there for the power of friendship and that happiness. And Gekidol does have an average rating of 5.51 on my anime list. And for good reason. I think that it was terribly written. I think that it was doing too much. There were too many things going on. I think that it was a really, really messy anime. But I think that does touch on where the idol anime genre is going. And with that, I think it's important to note that right now, there's not too many idol anime going on. I know that Love Live does have some things going on. Admittedly, that I'm not really keeping track of. I know that I did watch Liella's 3rd season, I think. I watched it a little bit late, but I think I did watch the 3rd season recently, which is like fine. It's okay, it's fine. But I do want to note that in 2023, we did see a big jump in what I think is the new change for idol anime, and that's we're going to see more of those intermingling and changing of the genre. We're going to see more action, more mystery, more suspense, and that brings me to Oshinoko. Now, Oshinoko is not at all a idol anime as we define it or as how we see it, but I think that is how the trend and how anime is starting to change and develop. I think they want to go more towards something that is more intermingling of genres and tackles on more than what idols have historically been. I think they want something that is going to make us think more, put us on our toes. And you know what? I think it's difficult because we have gotten maybe one song from the Idol Girls in Oshinoko. Correct me. I think one song. So I don't know exactly what the future of idol anime holds, but what I can say is that what they have been over the last couple years is a very unique kind of twist and turn kind of anime. But I do hope that we go back and we see more of the kind of classic idol anime that we have seen in the past, because we love them and I think that we want to see them come back. At least I do. I think how I kind of want to end this video essay is just by giving a couple reasons for why I think idol anime have seen a decline, and I don't know exactly if we can change it, what we can do to change it, but I think there's been some realizations that have made people kind of dial back on idol anime, on creating them, on taking them in. And I think one of those reasons, we have seen Love Live become less original, and we have seen it become very regurgitated and do a lot of things that do not make fans happy. And I know that there are a ton of videos talking about the downfall of Love Live, what happened to Love Live, all of those things. One of the most important things to me, though, I think in this video essay, in the downfall of idols, is that they're trying to simultaneously regurgitate idols and what they have done in the past, but also keep things new and refreshing. And I think that's a really, really big issue. I see a lot of idols now in the newest Love Live series that are carbon copies of previous characters of previous groups. And I think that's really, really annoying for a lot of Love Live and a lot of anime and idol fans, is that, like, yeah, they want to keep in the know, they want to keep part of the mainstream, and they want to keep relevant. Love Live, I think, has the kind of grounds to do that, where I think they have a very large fan base where they know people will watch. At least a very niche set of people. They're going to watch them, they're going to buy merch, they're going to listen to the music, they're going to do all of these things, but they're losing so many fans. I did take note because I haven't been keeping up with all of the Love Live like updates, but we saw Muse come out in 2010, and they disbanded, I believe, in 2017. I think they had a 7-year contract. And then we see 5 years after 2010, we see Sunshine come out in 2015. Now, I love the Sunshine Girls. They did really, really well, I think, during their time. But this is where I think Sunrise and all of the affiliated teams with Love Live kind of start to fall off. After 2015, just 3 short years later, we start to see the Nijigasaki Girls in 2018. And they're pick and choose. They're fine. They're okay. But I think we started to see the mobile game go down. There's so many girls at this point, and there's so many series starting to come out. Sunshine only got 2 seasons, and then it was like, whoa, we didn't get them for very long. And now all of a sudden, just a couple years later, we're getting a whole new group. And then not even 3 years later, we see Liella come out in 2021. And then 2 years later, we see Link Like, which I'm not even gonna lie to you, I don't know what the fuck Link Like is. I've never kept up with it. I don't know what's going on. But I think there's a lot to say about that with the rapid decrease in School Idol Festival. And then we saw All Stars Game, the 3D one that came out. I did play that a little bit, but when School Idol Festival 2 came out, I know that it lasted less than a year on Japan servers. And then almost in the same breath, when they announced, I remember, and I hope a lot of people feel the same way and think it's really funny, that they announced that they would be shutting down servers in May of that same year. So I think it was out for 5 or 6 months or something. But what was the point of even starting the game when they were going to be shutting it down a few months later? Like, you were still going to push spending money on a game that was literally about to shut down within a few months. I think that was hilarious. And I think that's when we really started to see a downfall of idols, and especially Love Live. They kind of became untrustworthy at that point. They became really predatory. They wanted to spend a bunch of money. We didn't care about the girls. They were just like every other girl that came before, but more boring, and we got less time with them. So I think that was one of the greatest downfalls of idols to date, was definitely the mobile game experience of the Love Live games. Now, I think that there is more to say about the downfall of idols, And I think one of them is the rise of real life idols. And I think although J-pop has been around, K-pop has been around for a very, very long time. I myself have listened to K-pop since like maybe the mid 2000s, early 2010s, a very, very long time. But with its globalization and how just popular K-pop is now, I think that it's really important to note that a lot of people, I think, who are into anime idols are like, hey, why am I going to watch idols like on TV and get to know these girls or spend time just like watching this anime when I can watch K-pop idols? I can watch, I can listen to their music, I can watch their live shows, I can watch their mukbangs, I can watch their variety shows. I can like get into these real people. They're not animated for any sense. I know that like BTS, I think, has like their own little cartoons or something. Don't come at me for that. I don't know anything about BTS or about anything like that. But they start off as real people. Why are we going to get into something that starts as animated and isn't as much to learn about or to watch when we can start with the real thing? We can start with K-pop idols. These are the real people. They're not, from what we know, putting on a front. They're not faking the food that they like, the colors that they like, their favorite spots or how they grew up. These are all like real things. And so I think especially with the rise of K-pop and real idols, we're starting to see a downfall and maybe a prohibition of anime idols coming back. Although I would love for them to come back because I love my idol girls. Yeah, I think there's a lot to say about idols and what has happened over the last several years with idol girls, idol groups. I really hope this makes it out to more than just Love Live fans. And although it has a near and dear place in my heart, I hope that other people can kind of relate to it. I hope that at least one person finds this interesting and at least like says that, whoa, yeah, like I didn't realize that idols have kind of fallen off, or I haven't seen as many idol anime, or like, yeah, like there has been a big change, and I just want to know what people think about it. I want to know, what do you want in idol anime? Where do you want to see the direction go? Do you really like Oshinoko and just wish that there was more music? Do you wish that there was more like girls in it, or more than like the action and like the acting part that's going on? Or do you miss old school kind of idol anime? Do you miss Idolmaster? Do you miss Bang Dream? Do you miss Love Live? All of those things. I just want to hear your thoughts down in the comments. Are you looking for something that's more dynamic? Are you looking for something that is very cut and dry? I just want to share my thoughts with idol fans everywhere. So if you have any comments, questions, anything like that, let's talk about everything idol, everything anime down below. And hopefully we can just start talking. Hopefully we can revive idols. I don't know. But thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a good rest of your day. Bye.